The Road to Serenaid, Part 1. Some people look at their lives and see a straight ascending line. Mine has always felt more like a playlist on shuffle. Join me as I tell you how Serenaid came to life. I hopped out of the car and in the dark of the night followed closely behind my dad into a dimly lit, crowded house. He handed over a plate of fresh flowers and fruit to a woman seated on the floor. In front of her, several little girls sat cross-legged waiting. She looked at me and motioned for me to take a seat alongside them. It was a night of Vijayadashami, and 5-year-old me took a seat on the floor as the lady in front began to sing. The group of girls and I were to repeat back to her what she'd just sung. In my culture, we call it Sangeetham, a Sanskrit word that means music, but it's more than just melody. It's voice, rhythm, instruments and movement woven together. In Sri Lankan Tamil tradition, music isn't just entertainment. It's a prayer, a devotion, a way to pass down stories and memory. This was my first introduction to music in a more classical sense. My grandmother had already taught me a few devotional songs at home, but this felt different. I was born in Sydney to Sri Lankan immigrant parents. My childhood had its challenges. We weren't exactly rich in the way it's often described, yet I never felt deprived because I was a dreamer and my days were filled with rich, tiny moments. In my mind, I had already built the perfect future, brimming with love, tiny humans, colour and experiences I had yet to live. At home, the family scenes I saw on TV, dinners around the table, hugs at the door, a casual "how was your day?" Those chats didn't happen. I was caught between two cultures, and somewhere in that space, music became my constant. Growing up, the radio was always on. My parents' bed even had one built into the headboard, and every evening my brother and I would linger in their room, playing quietly while the Sydney Tamil radio show played in the background. By grade 3, we had moved into a small apartment in Homebush. My brother and I shared a room along with a giant Panasonic stereo, the kind with the big knobs you had to turn just right to get a clear signal. I would sit beside it for hours, staring out the window and listening to the mix of radio chatter and music from across Australia. Every weekend, half awake, we would sit in front of the TV for video hits. It was one of the few shows my brother and I could agree on. I was never just watching the music videos though. In my head, I was in them. I was the backup dancer, the lead singer, and the girl singing about heartbreak I had not yet experienced, but somehow I already understood. When I wasn't immersed in music, I was lost in books. I loved the Babysitter's Little Sister series, especially Karen Brewer. Even with her divorced parents and 2 home lives, her life seemed steadier than my own. But the radio gave me something to hold on to, a thread that connected me to a wider community. By the early 2000s, Carl and Jackio's Hot Daddy Countdown had taken my bedroom into a dance floor, a warm-up for the nights I would later spend with friends at Tank nightclub in my early 20s. But it was in 1999, late one night while flipping through stations, I found it. Mix 106.5 Love Song Dedications. I was 10 years old. I had no idea this show would become a nightly ritual and the soundtrack to the person I was becoming. Whilst most kids in my community were working towards fulfilling their parents' dreams and securing jobs that were stable and would uphold the family name, I was determined to live a life of creativity, love, and adventure. Now, years later, I'm sitting in a waiting room, typing this on my phone while Ellie Goulding's Love Me Like You Do plays over the speakers. It is the same song I walk down the aisle to. For a moment, time folds in on itself, and I see the girl I once was and the woman I have become. But that is another story, and it begins with a high school love affair with Richard. Who's Richard? You'll have to wait and find out in next week's episode. But for now, I'll leave you with this week's Serenade. How Did I Get Here by Odessa.